on March 9th, 2026 at 4 p.m. here in the Lehi City Council chambers. We have a full council today. Councilmember Newell, Councilmember Harrison, Councilmember Freeman, Councilmember Stallings, and Councilmember Lockhart. We welcome all that are with us today. We appreciate you being here. I remind you that this is a work session, so there will not be public comment today. But we do appreciate that you're here and willing to listen and be a part of what's going to happen today. I've asked Councilmember Stallings if she'll open our meeting with an invocation.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful to come together this afternoon to discuss the business of the city. We're grateful to serve the residents and the people here, and we ask thee to bless us with thy spirit, with guidance as we discuss issues of importance, that we can share our opinions and give input and make the best decisions going forward. We ask you to bless our residents. We ask you to bless those who serve our residents, especially our first responders. Please help them in all their duties and give them protection and aid. And these blessings we pray for in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I appreciate that. Item 2, presentations and discussion items. We'll go first to 2A, the presentation of the Community Development Block Grant, the CDBG program overview, and we'll turn that over to Claudia Saldana from MAG. If she, maybe? Oh boy. Not here. So maybe what we'll do, yeah, we'll work on a couple of these other items, then we'll see where she lands. Okay, we'll go to item 2C, presentation of options to increase access and parking to the north end of Osier Park. Do we have? Yes, we do. Welcome, Steve.
Sorry, good thing I ran. I was asked the other day I guess it's been a month or two ago, to look at options about getting more access down to the back of Osier Park to access the pond back there for fishing. Sorry, I had to change my password the other day and it's not. Can I just plug you in?
Hey, Steve, do you want to hold the microphone towards you as well?
Yep, I do. So we had a citizen, do you care if I use your name? Mike Beck, bring this up and approach it and and he actually worked with Mike West to create this concept here that you're going to see, and then I've got a couple others, if I can zoom in and show them to you. Should drop my mouse, would have been happier for everybody. Steve? Yeah, if you don't mind. All right, this isn't his concept, this one's ours. All right, so this is the concept here that him and Mike West worked on. So down at Osier Park, as you come in, you're right at Willow Park's entrance. You come up that back road, and that's our facilities and parks shed there. Currently, we have a gate blocking this access right here for the water department access to get back into this roadhouse, or into this well house for maintenance. I don't know, Lauren would know better, the intention of what the pond was supposed to be. Realistically, at the beginning, it was just supposed to be for water usage. I know that the DNR has now stocked it, and there is fish in there, and it's quite a good fishing spot, especially for during the, if you don't want to go up into the hills or anything. But one of the concerns when that got built, funds were never allocated to finish this trail to go all the way back. So this is what Mike West and Mike Beck came up with, which would increase parking by about, I want to say it's 65 stalls for that. Currently at the park, we have 128 stalls, which is more parking than we have in any one of our parks per foot. So we looked at it in a different light and said, and not only that, but they also have a pier back here so that they can fish off of it, which is a great idea, great concept. Placement of it would have to be a little bit different because this is the inlet where it goes into the well. We would want to make it so it's away from that. Some of the other thoughts that the Parks Department came up with, we had three different options. Part of my concern with putting parking back here, I'll start there, is we already have a really hard time keeping kids out of Willow Park and off of the grass at Osier Park and off of the trails with their electric bikes, their scooters, their golf carts, their parents' UTVs. Putting a trail system back there, I'm worried that's just going to make it worse. Even with bollards, you still have to be able to remove the bollards to be able to get back in there and access it to maintain it. But we did come up with this option that would still bring up a 10-foot road all the way to the back, create about 8 more stalls. We felt like that was very sufficient for the usage for the fishing area. As far as the field space for the soccer and that, they're going to a park. I'm a true believer that people can walk to where they need to. I will say, though, we do have an issue with being able to access around the pond. People in wheelchairs with strollers or anything like that would have a hard time getting around it. So that was concept number 2 that we came up with. We did have another concept that basically what we did is we just created the trail or the path all the way around it, back up into and around, and then back and out, and then again just another layout of that trail system. We did put some pricing options together for that. Sorry, I'm going to switch pages here. I should have had this better in a different presentation. I apologize. So for Mike Beck's and Mike West's plan, with our current budget numbers from Geneva, it would cost us about $300,000, $285,000 to put the asphalt in. Finish the park around the side of the park, or finish the fence around the side of the park so that vehicles couldn't access onto the turf grass. That is with a crosswalk, that's with some of the ADA access items. So if we just did a 10-foot trail up and around, it would be about $40,000. Again, that's adding the crosswalks, doing some of those things. If we did a 10-foot road and then separated the road and the trail apart, so that we don't have the mixed use on that, it'd be about $120,000. And then if we did the small road all the way around it with that small parking lot, it's about $200,000. Yeah. What questions do you have for me? You want me to go back to the?
Yeah, for the parking, is there an option without paved parking?
So in our code right now, we don't allow that unless there's like a time issue, and we would say within X amount of years. We did that at Vets Ballpark for quite some time, got away with it. It's in our code that you pave all asphalt or pave all trails, so I would suggest that we don't do that. Right, Kim? Is that okay?
Yeah, and I think, and when Mike Beck approached me last year about this, he kind of explained some of the, not just for the fishing hole, but a lot of the soccer tournaments and Saturday games. I think it would be nice for some folks who have mobility issues or parents with strollers and grandparents coming to these games to have at least some parking access on that north end. I think looking for kind of a minimal plan that brings that access is something that I'm interested in. I think is a concept too that's a little more that brings vehicular traffic.
That's kind of the
back
one
there.
that we did that had just the few parking stalls up on the north side.
Right.
So that one's the $186,000 one.
And that's a one-way, so it'd be one-way going
So
clockwise,
realistically, it's
right?
a road coming into here, and then from there it transitions into a trail, and that they would have to go back out the exact same way.
Okay.
So I should know this because my daughter plays soccer there, but how many fields are there at Osier?
I believe that it's 2.
That's what I thought.
It's not city fields. We rent them out for the most part. If we do any, it's just one game at a time. So these are all rented fields. These
Yeah,
are
it's only
clubs.
Okay, it's only 2 fields, so majority of the time people park and they just walk either on the grass or
Well, and realistically, we've had complaints about this for a long time with people parking out on the roadways. People don't want to use the parking lot. They want to park as close as they can to the field space. On this one I can't, but I can go to this one. Sorry. We built it and then we got theirs, and well, I guess this is it. There you go.
And for that concept, if you were to open up like a one-way, right, going clockwise around the field,
I really don't think it's wise to bring a road down in back of here, unless you're going to do a split trail as well. You really don't want to create the cars and the... We have so many walkers down there that I don't want to get into that mess.
just because it's not wide enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
unless you want to eat up a lot of the park space, which is another 30 feet, which we can do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan. I think the concept too is a good start. I mean, we could always move towards something. I don't know if Mike West wants to talk about this at all. I know. I mean, that's more expensive, of course, but I think for the near term, I'd be a little more supportive of opening up that park access on the north end with just those. Is it 8 stalls on the north?
That's what we had on there. It might be more than that. Let me. Oh, I keep zooming out on me when I do that. Apologize.
Now, if we wanted to put, maybe spread out the funding for this over 2 or 3 years, we could technically, Kim, have a gravel lot, 10 stalls, yeah. But technically we could, if that was in the plan that we were going to, over the next 2 or 3 years, put asphalt in for parking, that would be okay to do.
Yeah, I think we could look at a phased approach, especially with this type of facility where it's more the pond and a little bit more in keeping with a natural area.
I do. I wonder, I know we had a business open up recently in Lehi that couldn't open because they hadn't asphalted their parking lot. So we are a little bit more stricter for, people who aren't us. We should probably, to your point, if we can do it over a series of years, but it's hard when we hold residents and businesses to a standard and then we would not do it for ourselves.
Yeah, and I think, this isn't really for city buildings or employees. This is for the residents to have easier access to the park. But if we want to put the funding toward full asphalt there, then that's another option. But I think, especially in the West where you don't have as many parks, especially, you have fields, you have Willow Park, but for this, I think it would be attractive for folks living on the west side who otherwise are going to the east side for more established parks like Family Park. But interested to hear any other thoughts.
So I'm not familiar with this. So I'm understanding that residents want access to the pond to fish, and people, and especially if we're, making sure it's mobility friendly, we need to have a paved trail, and there's a need there. That's what I'm understanding correctly?
I think that's pretty much it. I mean,
Okay.
realistically, this kind of hindsight, we would have never put fish in this pond. We would have never allowed that. I know it's not something that I prefer. I know it's not something that the water department prefers on a PI pond. It happened. We're here. We're going to embrace it. There's no way to get the fish out. And it is a nice little feature. I mean, you got Jordan River 5 feet away with fish in it. Different species, of course, but I mean, same activity. We have it now. We do have issues. Like I said, my biggest concern, and I stated this when this was brought up, my biggest concern is we're inviting more vehicles into somewhere that we have a lot of walking. Probably is pretty dang close to what we have up at the cemetery. Those are our two major, everybody goes and walks there. I really don't like loop trail up there. I think that keeping the speeds down is going to be an issue. I think bringing people in, we've already supplied plenty of parking. The biggest majority of the issue that I see that we have here is the mobility issue, being able to make sure that anybody can get up into that back pond with any ability. And so I really think if it were my preference, what we would be doing is just paving a trail around it.
Yes, because there's over 100 parking spots there.
128 stalls there.
Yeah, I've been there for soccer, and it's plenty. So if you just did the 40,000 one with the paved trail, where does it go to? And can you also...
Basically, it's a figure eight around the pond and then on all sides of it. So
Okay.
right now, from this point here, I don't know if you can see that dot, not very well.
I can.
So from that point all the way up around this pond is all gravel. Not only is it gravel, it's rough gravel with drainage issues. So we have all of the field slants to that side, wet or not wet, we always have water there. Down in that area, it's a swamp. So we do have, to walk back there, it's not comfortable, it's not good, it's kind of miserable. So we do need to clean that up and make it so that people can access it. And then it was always intended to have a walking trail all the way around this park. And so that would be, the reason that those roads are even there is there's a sewer lift station back there, there's the storm drain back there, and it's the service lines from the pond.
Can I ask you, so if we're just doing that, just the trail, would you still need to widen and kind of have that on, what is that, the west side, that a little bit wider?
The only reason that that's wider is for the road.
For the water access?
Just
Water department
for the-
access?
The water department needs an all-weather access trail in there, and that's why the gravel's even where it is.
And then is there a way to do that? Like, could you have the pier just priced out? Because I know if you are having mobility issues, I mean, you could potentially get back there on a paved trail, and maybe you just need to get out over the water a little bit.
We actually have a dock system that
Or a
is
dock or whatever.
sitting up at our water department currently that we inherited from Tibble Fork, that we potentially could look at putting that in.
Because I think, I totally see how they can get around here, but maybe not close enough to the water to actually fish, especially if there's gravel and there's a grade.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have some kind of, I guess, dock or pier or something someone can go out on, then I think that actually, to me, solves the problem.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend a lot of money on that, personally.
I'm aligning with Rachel on this one. I would love to see the walking trail. I think that's going to get the most use. It does allow for like mobility scooters and that to, be able to use it. I know I'm not driving, but I'm with you about, I'd like to not introduce vehicles into an area where it's really where people might go and be able to be on trails.
Well, I guess I need to clarify that a little bit. Monday through Thursday, my staff's in and out of there 40 times a day. I mean, I have 20 trucks in there going back and forth on that short extended road. It's bad, and I'm always constantly getting after them for going too fast. I find myself going too fast. It is one of those things that there's a lot of people there all the time. I mean, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm going down there and it's dark and you're watching for people because they're there. And so I really like the idea, and I don't want to discredit the idea of having vehicles back there. other than people and vehicles don't mix. We all know that, so, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to get the money over to Mailer Roads. That, you know, if we're gonna be putting money on that west side, I don't wanna take $250,000 into this. It could be like a long-term project. I think the need for the trail and the paved is there. You're talking about, you have drainage issues already, but I think when we're talking about big park, things that we need to be looking towards, it's hard when we start doing some of these. It may seem like a little bit of money compared, but they do chip away at the ability to get some of these bigger parks done.
Steve, so is the trail connecting to the parking lot proposed trail if we do trail only?
So we have a trail, the gravel trail is from here all the way around to here. We do have this cut through on this road, but that's the only trail system that we have there other than the sidewalk. Yeah.
Okay, so when you're talking about the trail, would it extend
Yeah,
to
we
the
would put
parking
the
lot?
trail all the way and do a figure 8, basically.
Okay,
So all the way around the pond, front and back of it, and then to the sidewalks.
okay. And when you go out there, are there a lot of people fishing? Is that, or just walking?
Not very often. There's a lot of people there.
Okay, but
Weekends it's packed, but there's always parking stalls.
but a lot of people walk there, and the gravel
Yeah.
trail's not
Yeah.
the best, safest thing. Okay,
There's always parking stalls available. I've never seen it full. I mean, this is where we do our Easter egg hunt. It's one of our bigger events. I think we had a movie night that it got pretty full at, but for the soccer games there's not. I've never seen it full.
so James, do you think that just the trail only would solve the issue, give greater
dock.
accessibility?
I mean, I think it would be easier. Of course, it's an improvement. But like Steve said, I mean, you're still going to need to put vehicles back there, so it's still going to be open for at least city vehicles.
Yeah.
And my concern is even, you know, if someone wanted to park that had mobility issues from the parking lot to the pond, you're looking at about 300 yards. And so I think even if you walk with a cane or if you're not quite as stable on your feet, being elderly, I think it's still quite a long walk.
Well, and I appreciate what you're saying. I mean, I think that's the whole of it right there. Is this a nicety that we want to spend money on? I mean, it's not a need by any means. So I can't rightfully stand up here and say we need to do this, but it is absolutely a very nice benefit that we could give if that's what you want to do.
What would it, if we were to, at least in the near term, do gravel for the parking?
I would even before I did gravel, we've gotten a lot of heat by doing things like, you know, like Emily said, you know, we require it from here, but we won't do it here. Really, we would have left Vets Ballpark the way it was, but we were getting so much pressure because it wasn't paved that we needed to do it. I would rather just stick with that. But, you know, another option that I'm thinking about while I'm right here is we potentially could do I don't even want to say it out loud, but I guess we could do a single stall or a double stall and have it one way in and out, or one way in. The minute that we start letting vehicles back there, vehicles are going to go there, not the ones that are intended or that it is intended for. And so that's really the problem. Currently, right now, we have a guy that's building onto his home up here that comes and knocks and makes sure he can get in there every day so he can work on the construction on the back of his house and fuel up the tractor. And I mean, we're just inviting it.
Yeah, and I don't feel good about just a gravel parking lot, and I pointed that out to you before, that again, it's in our code that we expected of other people, but also gravel's not the easiest thing if we're, you know, to walk on. So I'm wondering if we could start with a trail, and then if we see increased use and a need to actually put a parking lot and road, maybe look at it in future years. Just sat through budget meetings, so I'm not wanting to spend too much money on other things, so it's difficult, but.
So our
Yeah.
rail fence ends here that we have to keep it, kind of block people off. If we extended that up to here, I potentially could do a 2 or 3 car stall parking area in that area. I mean, we have workable rights on all of this as well. That could potentially get them closer and help the issue, be cheaper, but it's still, yeah, it's not my favorite.
Hey, I have a question. That's 20 foot wide, that access road,
Yeah.
right? Is there a way to make it a little wider and have like diagonal parking on the side and it'll just like a little loop turn around at the top that's not actually parking?
Yeah, but I don't think it'll get us any, I don't think it'll be any cheaper. It'll still be
Okay.
in the $140,000, $150,000 range.
So just the trail though would be, we're looking at 40, is that right? Okay. Yeah, I agree with Michelle about let's just, try to meet the need now with the trail, paved trail. I would like to see if you can resurrect that dock or something. If it's not costing us something, I think that would help a lot with access.
I'll need to check with Public Works to make sure that they don't have any issues on putting the dock out there.
Okay.
But, yeah, we have pieces of it up there for sure.
Sorry, quick question. Does it connect to the Jordan River Trail right there?
Yeah, it'll connect right here.
And is the parking? Yeah, never mind. I don't think it
The
does.
parking doesn't, no. Parking, they park at Willow Park or they park here and then they can get on. I don't know of any actual parking structure for Jordan River Trail except for off of 1500 North, actually. Well, there's one up, I think, Saving Point as well.
But I do like that it connects to that trail because maybe people walking on that trail might want to take a detour or
We
something.
have a similar connection at Olympic Park, so it's not something that we're not used to doing or haven't done in the past.
Any other comments, questions for Steve?
Can I get a little direction? Would you like me to put this in a budget request? Would you like to see this go forward?
Did you have the estimate for at least the paved walking trail?
That was the
That was
48
like
or
40,
something.
40
Yeah,
something?
it was the 40.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, personally, I'd like to see it, and I know we have other big capital projects and Miller Roads, which has been on for a while. I think this is an easy one to invest a little bit of money to open up access. Personally, I'd like to see stalls back there, but if the rest of the council thinks that a trail would be good enough as a first step, then I'd be obviously supportive.
I'm good with that if you want to put in a budget request.
Yeah, me too.
Perfect. I'll get it in.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Claudia, I think you walked in. How are you? We're going to go back to 2A, presentation of the CBDG program, and we'll turn it over to Claudia for that.
Just Council Apple TV. Okay, sorry about being late, guys. I need to keep practicing. I need to just put more time on my commute every single time. Okay, so I'm here to talk to you guys about the CDBG program. I know a couple of council members have already been through this and they understand it a little bit better, so I just wanted to give you a quick overview so that everyone just knows what it is and what we can do with the money. So CDBG stands for Community Development Block Grant. It's a federal program that provides monies to cities and counties, and it comes from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and it's mostly used for lower income residents to just improve quality of life. And then who gets funding is entitlement cities is the term that they use. These are cities that have reached the population threshold of 50,000 or urban counties that have reached the population threshold of 200,000. And then every project that we do with this money has to fall into one of these 3 national objectives. The majority, and that's why the bubble is the biggest, is low or moderate income benefit. We can do projects that help prevent or eliminate slum and blight, just a little trickier, and we have to have them be designated areas of slum and blight. And then urgent need is hardly ever used. It's more for like when COVID happens, some sort of emergency. Lehi City Currently gets about $300,000 every year. And mostly what the city has used it for historically is for public services and public facilities. We can use it for economic development and housing projects, things like that. This is just like a quick timeline. So in the fall and early winter is when we start getting applications. We put out a notice of funding availability to public nonprofits in the area, and then to the Lehi City. They know that the funding's coming, so if there's city projects that you guys want to apply for. We do an initial screening of eligibility in January, and we go do site visits and talk to all of the applicants. And then we provide the city staff at Bo right now currently all of the applicants and the funding that they're requesting, and then they provide funding recommendations to us, and that's what I'll present to you guys. And that's when subrecipients is what we call them, or applicants. They'll come and present their ideas to you, and then today was when you're going to do a preliminary funding decision. So nothing's set in stone yet. It's just what you think you'd like to see happen, and then we'll put it out for public comment. We'll have a public hearing, and then I'll come back in May for your final approval. And then this all just ties back into the annual action plan. This is just a plan that we have to provide yearly, and this will tell us exactly what projects are happening in that year. Every year we do an annual action plan. Every 5 years we do a consolidated plan, which just happened. And all of our projects just have to be in line with those goals and objectives that we set. Sorry, that was really quick. Do you guys have any questions before we have applicants come out and start giving presentations?
I think we're ready.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Okay.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. I am Josh. I am with Tabitha's Way Local Food Pantries. Some of you may have heard of us. We were very fortunate to have been supported through this CDBG program and in years prior, and also through Lehi City. So thank you so much in advance for your consideration and time. So Tabitha's Way Local Food Pantry, if you haven't heard of us, we provide food assistance to those in need throughout Utah County. I'll bring up a map of our 3 pantry locations, but currently we have a location, our starting location was in Spanish Fork, and then we've moved up into northern Utah County. Now we have a location in Pleasant Grove and Saratoga Springs, as well as a mobile pantry in Payson. So we have 3 brick and mortar locations in those other 3. Our mission is providing temporary food assistance. This 75 3 months or less. So of all the participants that come into our pantry, the program that we utilize is called the Pantry Feeding Program. And just kind of give you a brief overview of how that works is we gather food from our main way we get food in is through our grocery rescue, which is a subset of the program, but it's from local food producers and grocery stores. We get their kind of surplus food that's kind of missed the sell-by date, but it's still, nutritious, good food that we can give out. Those are picked up through food trucks, brought into the pantries, and given out to our clients. That comprises about 68% of all of our food donations. We also get food donations through Bishop Storehouse and some other, I believe, Cisco grocers where we have to do food purchases because some food can't be easily donated, like temperature-regulated foods. So that's the pantry feeding program and how we get our food in. 75% of all our beneficiaries only come for 3 months or less, and that's why we say it's a temporary. Usually, most of our clients are coming in for a temporary crisis. We'll kind of go through different scenarios there. But as far as trying to help bolster against long-term food insecurity, we do recommend wraparound resources. So we do initial intakes for everyone that comes in. And we ask them, okay, what are your needs? Do you need help with housing, which I think is everyone these days? Food, clothing. We also get, we've been privileged to get DI vouchers where we can say, hey, if you need food, here's a voucher. You can go get a certain amount of clothes for your family. So we do wraparound resources, and that's to help to pull people out of food insecurity for long-term, along with temporary food assistance. It's really, we do have a small percentage of people that will utilize our services for an extended period, but it's really more of a temporary stopgap for people that are needing that resource. And our whole, and it's part of our mission is, neighbors helping neighbors, and we're very fortunate for that in all the communities that we work with. I mean, like you can see in these numbers, we utilize the services of almost 11,000 volunteers. Currently, we have 29 staff members, so our volunteer to staff ratio is very high, and that obviously helps us minimize costs. But we do have 3 full-time pantries that give out quite a bit of, I think we had about 10.7 million meals last year throughout organization. So we're very, very grateful that we have our volunteers. We wouldn't be able to do it without them. No hunger zones. This is the ultimate goal of Tabitha's Way. It's a no hunger zone is when no one need go hungry because the community has invested in persistent solution to resolving food insecurity. So we understand that hunger is always going to be a thing. We can't prevent it, but our vision is to have a robust food safety net so that no one need go hungry. So in this, I was going to talk about this later, but this obviously came up with the government shutdown when there was the scare for SNAP benefits where it was reduced. We saw a 100% increase in those seeing food assistance, and we know there's, I mean, you guys would know more than I do, but we are worried about different cutbacks and about how that's going to affect our beneficiaries. So we want to have, our goal is to have our place in that safety net to help provide people with, if they don't have other options. So that's just going over that. Who we serve, we don't discriminate on who comes in. We do an initial intake, and we do have certain things that we track just for our partners. We work with Feeding America, Utah Food Bank. I think we ask for a photo ID. We ask for like their household number and a contact number, but we don't discriminate on who can come in and receive food assistance. And mentioning about how the CDBG funds are tailored towards low to moderate income beneficiaries. Virtually like 99% of our beneficiaries are considered low to moderate income based on federal poverty guidelines. And that's been the case. We actually just celebrated our 15-year anniversary last year, and that's been the case. You'll see all our numbers. In the interest of time, I won't go over these stories, but I'll just share an example. I mean, it's every sort of different circumstance of people coming in needing assistance. We had a story of a UVU student that came in, and she was able to get food, and she actually mentioned us, gave us a shout out in her commencement that, I needed Tabitha's Way to help feed my kids and get through school. And we've had cancer patients that, luckily are actually cancer free now, but they needed food assistance while they're paying medical bills. So that's people losing jobs and losing a loved one, divorce, things like that, where people are like, look, I just can't make ends meet this month. How can I get assistance? That's typically what we see. This is Utah County population. I think we all know that Utah County, and this is, I believe that's a projection for 2025. I don't have strict numbers in, but I just want to kind of show, obviously, the county's growing, and that's who we serve, so our numbers are going to go up. But we're still seeing pretty drastic increases year over year, and maybe that's just because we've grown where we have a bigger service area, but we do believe like the need is grown as well. So in 2025, we served, I mentioned, about 2.7 million meals. That is a 70% increase from 2024. And as far as individuals, there's about 240,000 individuals, and I put in 95,000 were children. About half, 45 to 50% each year are children, and then a good bulk is senior citizen, and also about half is also women as well. And just to be very clear with this isn't just obviously 239 separate individuals per se, but this is every visit that has come in. This is how many people have come in on different occasions. So. Again, this is a projection for Lehi City growth, and this is just a quick initial thing, so if I'm wrong on this, please excuse me, but from what I searched up, Saratoga, Eagle Mountain, and Lehi, which are kind of our newer locations, these are the really fastest growing cities and areas in Utah County, and we're seeing that across our pantries. Our north pantries serve a lot more individuals than our south does, and just for the numbers, we served about 17,000 individuals from Lehi City last year. I mentioned this earlier. Our main clear and present worries are there's kind of a twofold issue. We don't rely a ton on public funds. We're very fortunate to be mostly funded by private donors, and I'm the grant manager there, so we do some foundation corporation things. But we've seen obviously there's no news to you guys that there's a lot of cutbacks to different programs that are also funding organizations like ours, and then also cutbacks to critical programs for our beneficiaries. Like we saw with SNAP, that has seen some reductions, Meals on Wheels, and then also just the big thing that's been over the last few years was crazy high housing prices. We believe is what the biggest reason that's pushed people where it's like their budget just they don't stretch as far as they used to, and then also health insurance premiums seem to have spiked up at the start of this year. So with all those, we've seen a lot of. We believe that's where our curve is because we kind of had a more linear growth, but it's seen these last few years. And like I said, we have been grown. It's hard to know exactly what that increase was, but we have seen more and more people, and there's a lot of worry of like, okay, are there going to be programs that help these people if ours isn't around? So what would the funds, I believe in our ask, I think it was $35,000 that we had asked for this, and that's where these numbers come from. This is all just math done off. We are based off our grocery rescue efforts and our donors, volunteers, all the programs together. We're able to provide a meal for only 20 cents per meal, which is amazing for us. I mean, we were able to keep that cost low based off all of our partners. And so if this is if a full amount of 35, I think we asked anywhere from 20 to 35,000, that would provide about 175,000 meals, about 4,000 individuals, and resources to about 13,000 first-time clients. And those, like I mentioned, those wraparound resources that we do with every intake. So that really just kind of comes at, if that's 13,000 first-time people coming in, if that makes sense. These are just our locations. I couldn't find an actual picture of the Pleasant Grove Pantry, but they actually built a new facility. We've had to grow just to meet the demand. Spanish Fork has hopped from smaller location to bigger as they've gone along. This one here is a previous grocery store that about, I think, was like 5 times bigger for as far as warehouse space, which we need. And they go through that entire space within of food in 2 months. Currently this week we're doing our Feed Utah food drive, which you may have heard of. That's one of our biggest food drives that's actually been very much reduced this year. It went from, we gathered in 100,000 pounds of food in 2024 down to 40,000 last year, and then this year we don't expect to get even close to that. So that's kind of the need that we're seeing. Did you have any questions about the program, what we do, anything about that?
Just you said 2025, you served 17,000 meals to people in Lehi, or individuals? That was 17,000 individuals?
I believe that was individuals. And like I said, that's coming from, that's basically 17,000 visits from Lehi City residents, if that makes sense.
So you can't quantify how many meals that was, I guess, really?
Okay. Yeah, so we can't. So you basically multiply it by 45. So how it works, every time someone comes in, they're able to get 2 weeks worth of food based on their family size. So if they'd get more if it's a family of 4 versus 5. But every time they come in, they get 2 weeks worth of food, and they're allowed to come back every 2 weeks as well. So that's how it works. So really, and we consider that 45 meals each. Every time they visit. So really, you would multiply that by 45, and that'd be the number that the meals that we provided to those individuals, if that makes sense.
And these individuals are not including the families. This is like the person who walked through the door, or are you calculating the families?
That would be, I believe, sorry, yeah, the family would be baked into that. That'd
Into
be like if it was a family of 5, it's like that's included in that, if that
Into the
makes
16,
sense.
8,
Yeah, and
22.
we can give numbers for households as well. I can tell you the average, what we usually go off of, it's about 4.5, 4 to 5 for each family size that we see. But there's a lot of children, like I mentioned, it's usually we're about half of who we serve our children in our communities and things like that. So it's been growing quite a bit. And like I said, we've been lucky to work with we get a lot from Saratoga, Eagle Mountain, and Lehi, and it's been great community support. So thank you for that, and I'm sure you guys have heard about us and brought it up, and we've had great community support. So.
Any other questions? Thank you, and thank you for your involvement in the community. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, well,
And
of course.
glad to know that someone can go and get a meal. That's important to know, so thank you.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you for all your support and consideration. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Stephanie from the engineering department. How are you guys? See if I can get this to connect. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. So my job here is to be in the CDBG project. This is my second year doing it. I'm still learning, but I have Lauren here with me. If you have any questions that I can't answer, he'll back me up. Our goal for CDBG is to add missing curb, gutter, and sidewalk in the downtown area of Lehi, one section at a time. I wish we could do it all at once, but we have to take it tip by tip, and I feel like we're doing great progress right now. The area of focus that we're doing right now, I have a little map here just to kind of give you a visual. For 2026, we are doing 600 north between 100 east and 400 east. Of course, it breaks down on me. So on the map, you'll see a yellow line with the cones. That's actually a project that we are under design and going to be breaking ground in the summer, which is on 400 east. So we want to kind of finish that block out to make it safe for all Lehi students, both elementary and high school, and also help support the surrounding residents and also the businesses to make it safer, walkable area. And it will also help the drainage of that as well. The benefit of it is this road is actually a collector road. With the installation of curb, gutter, and sidewalk, it'll improve the safety of the section, and it will also, with the drainage, like I just said. The funding will be approximately $300,000. This will be requested, the amount that we're hoping for. This will include curb, gutter, sidewalk, pavement, if we need to relocate the stop signs, all of that. It'll really, it'll improve the safety, it'll improve the parking. You know, I have a high school student myself, and he loves to go to Quenchit. So walking there, I always worry, it is a bit, I don't know if you've ever walked there when school's out, or even, you know, you got high school students parking there and walking, and I am a nervous mom. So having that sidewalk there would be very helpful, just as comfort as a parent myself. And we're gonna go for a little walk on this little video. You're going to see I want you to focus more on the left-hand side. That is where the project is projected to be. And you'll just see the great need to this. And while we're walking down this road, if you have any questions, this would be a great time to ask, but you can see that it's very busy.
Can you tell me, I missed that. Where's it? Is it going to go all the way to Wines?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. That's really exciting.
Yeah, it'll connect it all the way. It'll be a great improvement.
I mean, there's so many people that park for Roundup up there in Alpine Bible Church, and so to be able to have that all, this is awesome.
Yeah, it would be a great improvement, I think. I like to take this walk on my breaks to get that fresh air, and just seeing the need for it, it's crazy. But yeah, any questions?
Have you spoken to all the residents?
Yes. Yeah,
And
we actually
are
have
they-
to go door to door and get a survey to make sure that they do meet that low to mod income. And every resident that I spoke to, they're actually quite thrilled that this is a project that might be happening. So.
This was a section where there have been residents before that have talked about they like the idea of being able to park perpendicular. And then they've talked to me recently. It's like, we have so many water issues. There's lots of other issues, plus with all the walking with kids. So this seems like a high need area to get done.
Most definitely. Yeah, that is my presentation to you. If you have any other questions.
I have a question too.
Uh-huh.
So in this area, there's a lot of areas that need sidewalks. So the priority here is because it's a walking route for schools and.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
We see the need of, it's in between the two schools, the high school and the elementary school, but we also have a lot of walkability to Quenchit and the church and all that. So it's just a high walking point.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, you know, within the next, I mean, we got years, right, to be able to connect it all so everything is just a good flow.
Yeah. Well, I have supported this sidewalks downtown and other areas for a long, long time, so I'm thrilled that you're looking into where it's needed most. And I would add also, just from my experience, parking to go to city events at Wines Park. Mm-hmm. There's not enough parking, so we park quite a distance away, and this is one of the routes we take. So I think it would help with our people walking to our city events as well. So
especially if you have a stroller or, you know, the mobility thing, it's a big deal. So I think it'd be a great improvement for sure.
Thank you.
So, thanks, you guys.
Great, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
I'm Camilla from Family Haven, and we've also been the recipient of a lot of support from the city of Lehi. We just finally were able to open our doors to our new Lehi facility last year, and we are providing services 2 days a week, and we are looking at ramping that up. So we've already had a lot of Lehi families reach out to us, and you guys have helped us with the Lehi Serves projects, and it's been really great. To be on the same team. But Family Haven's been around for a very long time. We've been open since 1984 in Orem, and I guess in Lehi since last year. And we provide, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? You're not seeing anything yet. There you go. Okay. We provide family support programs. So, worried about this? Okay, well, imagine a really cute graphic that represents each of our programs. We provide drop-in childcare at no cost to families for children ages 0 to 12. We provide therapy services for children, adults, families older adults, people with disabilities. We are able to provide play therapy, art therapy, and we focus our therapy services on trauma recovery and abuse treatment. And then we also provide education. We provide abuse prevention education, where we have a program that goes into schools and teaches children how to identify and prevent their own abuse. We have parenting classes that help parents who are not yet parents learn parenting skills, and parents who are dealing with difficult parenting situations, maybe have older kids and are looking to get new techniques. Both our childcare and education services are completely free to the public. They are grant funded. We have contracts. We have sustainable funding sources for that. But our therapy program is still largely fee-for-service based, like a lot of therapy programs are. The whole industry is just very regulated in that way. So we are one of the few providers in Utah County who are able to work with Medicaid, who are able to work with lots of, pretty much every single insurance that's available in the area. Sorry, I got distracted because now it showed up. Okay, is that my new one? Okay, great. Fantastic. So we are able to do that, and we do that in order to increase accessibility to as many families as possible. So like I said, our focus for our clinical services are in abuse recovery and treatment of whether it's sexual abuse, child abuse, domestic violence. We focus on that, and we continue to see, unfortunately, a growing need for these services. There are a lot of children who are experiencing stress, and a lot of the socioeconomic stresses that we are experiencing also translate into stressed parents, lower emotional regulation ability, and we are seeing more and more cases. We work very closely with DCFS. We work very closely with community partners that refer families to us, and we are able to handle the entire family because we have a large clinical team, we have a larger facility. We're able to give services to the entire family at once, which is something that is a little unusual. Usually families have to find a therapist for mom, a therapist for the children, and they're all at different times. Our model is to do this all at once. So we are able to provide each child with their own therapist and their own clinical plan. We're able to provide the entire family with that. So every child in the family can have their own therapist. Most of the time, we're able to provide this at the exact same time. So if you have a large family and something traumatic's happened to your family, you're able to come to Family Haven and just all sort of be taken care of at the same time. We're also able to provide childcare for if there are younger children or children who are just at a different stage or they don't need those services. A parent can drop off their children and just have that all taken care of and have that hour can just take care of everything. They don't have to worry about getting additional help. And this actually really helps, especially larger families, get services if they can have younger children taken care of during that time. We also have access, we do community events for all of the families that are, well, for anyone really, but for all of the families that are involved in our programs so that our clients can meet each other and make friends with other families who have maybe been through similar things. We also have our education classes that are available for free for everybody. So by treating the entire family, we have found that every single individual in that family has improved outcomes. Children are very resilient, and if we're able to address the trauma and address the abuse, we are able to see them just correct course very quickly. This slide just talks about why our program is really good. We have the specialized providers who have a lot of training. We have community engagement. Because we've been in the community so long, there are a lot of organizations that know about us that can tell parents who are going through a difficult time that we're there, and we are continuously improving our programs. The funding request for CDBG is about this, and I know this is a lot of words, but maybe if you just look at the one right in the middle, that's really what we use this funding for, because it's very targeted per family. What we find is that a lot of families who have insurance are able to access whatever services they want. and it doesn't, we're able to take care of them. But especially lately, we've been seeing a lot of families who, with job losses, they interrupt, the insurance is interrupted. And what we're able to do with this specialized funding for each community is be able to maintain that continuity of care. So those children who were maybe in therapy because of a traumatic event, they don't have to stop. They can continue receiving treatment if there's a job loss. Or sometimes we have situations where the traumatic event results in the breadwinner of the family going to jail and losing their job. And so those families who are at the moment of highest need, they no longer have the resource that would make this available for them. So our staff who are funded through our ACES program, they're able to work with that family to get back on their feet and to get signed up for insurance, to get signed up for Medicaid. We are very lucky to live in Utah where Medicaid and CHIP and all of those things are well funded and well supported. But when a family's in crisis, they still need support to access those services. So that's what our staff do. And that's the way we use the funding. We use the funding to fund treatment for specific families so that they can have access to that through the ups and downs, or if they're just coming in in a crisis situation. So if you guys have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, I think
Okay.
we're good, but thank you for your presentation, and thank you
you.
for what you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Sorry, I hope I won't break it.
Oh, you're good.
Thank you. I'll try the mirroring access.
I can use my hotspot. I can let him use my hotspot. It's a race. Who's faster? Brad.
My story matters. Boom. 21st century problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. We are thrilled to be before you. I'm with My Story Matters. My name is Rebecca Spencer. I oversee compliance and grant funding. And this is Joshua Heslop, and he is case manager extraordinaire. And so if you have any specific questions, he's your guy. He can really share the specifics with what we're doing. My Story Matters exists because we believe that lasting transformation is possible. And we believe in partnering with communities like Lehi to make that transformation real. So I want to share with you today a little bit about what we do, but more the vision and how we're building, what we're building towards. We're looking at a Utah County where every individual who leaves incarceration has a real path back to stability, to a solid family life and contribution to the community. So we'd love to partner with Lehi to have Lehi be the cornerstone of that vision. The community challenge that we face in Utah County, and a reality, is that 94% of incarcerated individuals in the state of Utah will return to our communities. They're in every neighborhood. Individuals returning from incarceration face huge barriers. There's no housing. It's really hard to get into housing if you've just been released. They have little to no income. They have no network. Many of them will cycle through treatment, workforce services, housing programs with zero lasting change. And that's not because the programs fail, but that's because the participants have lacked the foundation to engage in these programs successfully. So this results in a revolving door that costs communities significant in public safety, in housing pressure, in emergency services, and in human potential. Lehi, as many of the cities in our neighborhood, in our community, is not immune to these costs, but we don't have to accept those costs. And as we talk about this, I also want to note that the family cost is extremely significant. When an individual is incarcerated, most of them, many leave behind single parents who are barely making it work. The services that we provide are targeted to stabilize the entire family. So this CDBG project targets low and moderate income individuals in Utah County who are at the highest risk of housing instability. We look to men and women leaving incarceration or addiction recovery treatments who have few resources and significant barriers. We serve at risk of homelessness individuals and families, including the families who are left behind when a loved one is incarcerated. These are our neighbors. These are our family members. These are potential community contributors. The window of intervention is extremely narrow. Early intensive support is what determines whether someone stabilizes or whether or not they cycle back. So we look specifically to partner with Lehi in this application because Lehi is one of the fastest growing cities in the county and in our state. And with the growth that comes, we need intentional community infrastructure. We would love to model with Lehi what proactive reentry support would look like at a city level. This is looking at investing upstream, reducing downstream costs, and positioning yourself as a leader in a smart, compassionate community development across Utah County. We're not asking you to solve the problem. We're asking you to be an anchor in the solution. What makes our model different is that our Captain Your Story teaches an internal foundation. This program teaches a foundation that makes every other intervention work. So we focus on identity development, emotional regulation, vision-based accountability. So we start when an individual is going through their treatment. If they're incarcerated, right, we're working with them in prison. If they are in addiction recovery, we're working with them as they go through their treatment. And this is what will make a housing placement stick. If they have employment, they're ready to succeed. If they have stable housing, if they're rebuilding their families, if they have the tools to put all those pieces together, then they're much more likely to succeed and to function well in society. We are authorized by the Utah Department of Corrections as the state's first approved inside-out organization. We're also recognized by the Governor's Criminal Justice Task Force. We partner with Intermountain Healthcare, Wasatch Behavioral Health, federal HUD programs. Our model has been validated at every level. Some of our outcomes that show that our vision is working. In 2025, 59 program graduates remained in the community following release. So this generated an estimated $1,011,636 in cost avoidance to the state of Utah. Our recidivism rate among our participants is approximately 11% compared to Utah's 46%. But these aren't just numbers. These are fathers who are back in their children's lives. These are families who are restored. These are neighbors who are contributing to their community rather than cycling back. This is our vision, and this is what it looks like in practice. It's already happening in Utah County. The participants, how this works, and this is, if you have questions, this is where Joshua comes in because he's amazing. They work directly with our case managers, and we provide them with peer mentors. We build stabilization plans, housing, employment, family reunification plans. We connect them to existing resources, and we show them how to make those connections stick. We're not trying to replace an ecosystem out there. We're just trying to make the system work. Lehi's investment through CDBG will strengthen every partner organization in the county. When individuals can engage, every program becomes more effective. So we look at the partnership and the funding. We're looking at the funding specifically to expand our reentry stabilization initiative throughout Utah County and very specifically in Lehi because of the large amount of growth that Lehi has, as well as the demographics that the city has, our positioning with public transport. What we'd like to provide is intensive case management services, peer mentorship, coordinated connection to housing, employment, and behavioral health services throughout a very established partner network. This is targeted, high-level investment in community stability. So Lehi's participation will make that possible, and it would make Lehi a model for how Utah County cities can lead out on this issue together. I have a list of some of our partners, community partners who we work with. Every person who stabilizes reduces pressure on your housing system, on your emergency services, on your public safety. Every family that stays together, strengthening the community fabric. The return on this investment compounds because stable individuals become employed residents, engaged parents, and eventually mentors to others who are going through the same transition. Lehi's investment doesn't just help individuals, it's building a community, the kind of community that Lehi is actively working towards. So we stand here at a moment of real momentum. We're working hard with the state. We've been very active in legislative processes with governor's initiatives. We're trying to work also target with the cities in our county and our community. Our infrastructure is in place, our outcomes are proven, and now we're just looking for strategic partners who are willing to anchor this next phase, so that we've come to you today to request that opportunity to help build a Utah County and specifically a city of Lehi where reentry doesn't mean returning to instability, it means returning home. So we're very grateful for your vision, for your leadership, for your consideration of partnering with us, and we'd like to ask if you have any questions.
Mr. Mayor, if I may. So the request, if you could go back a couple of slides, I think it was over $300,000 for the total project.
Yes.
But you're requesting $12.5 from Lehi.
Correct.
So I guess I'm just trying to understand if Lehi is an anchor for you. Like, what does that mean? If you're asking us to contribute so little, how would that mean that Lehi is now the anchor for your program?
Sure, that's a fantastic question. Our total project comes from federal sources, state sources, county sources, and so we targeted down to Lehi what we felt was proportionate. We're looking here specifically at 14 individuals, and we want to build our model and build our data with 14 individuals targeted in very in-depth case management services to say, how can we help you? How can we connect you with the services in Lehi? And then as we build out, this $342,000 budget will take us over 2 years as we implement the course, and we're asking for the funding from Lehi as we lead out in this entire project. Also, I should note that this is not a new project. We have been operating this project very successfully under home ARP funding, and so we're looking to continue, and we wanted to target areas where we see weaknesses, and we very specifically we're having very positive relationships with UDC, with the legislature, with the governor. We wanted to do it on a local level because we believe that the local level is really what's going to drive it statewide. So we're taking our statewide focus and look to Lehi to say, let's lead out, let's start with these 14 individuals, let's show you how it's done. And then as additional money comes in, we're not saying, Lehi, you only get 14 and we're done. As the money comes in, we're saying, we've established this program, here's our real-time data, and let's continue to build.
You're not seeking funding from the other surrounding cities? It's just Lehi?
We have sought funding from the regional CDBG we asked 10% for contribution from Lehi, and we have sought $125,000 from the regional.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you. That's helpful.
So I just kind of want to break it down to maybe specifics a little bit, like we heard from some other organizations. So are you talking about like a group home situation, transitional housing, counseling services, and then you're going out finding low to moderate income housing that you help connect them with and subsidize, like, just specifics, I guess.
So a lot of these individuals are already in your community and are accessing services through adult probation and parole, through other agencies in that space. So they can work with us, but only in approved cities. And so without funding, they then have to move to another city just to move back to Lehi, if that makes sense. So we have a lot of families of incarcerated individuals who are here. Their families are engaged with our programming. However, they live here. They don't live in Provo or in Orem or in Salt Lake, with some of these other communities that are a little more invested or involved in the current programming we have. And so this would provide services to their families, which is a key component, as well as to them as they transition back into the community.
So for you say services, can you be specific about services?
Yeah, so services is case management and one-on-one support. So